Hello everyone, in this video we're going to transition from just using data to using experiments and collecting data to determine probability. For example, I got this 3D printed from my brother. I don't know if it rolls fairly though. The only way I know to check is to roll it many times and see what happens. So let's get started. We use experimental probability for a variety of things, like predicting the weather. For our notes today, we're going to use the statistics already collected to create a probability to predict the future. For a quick vocab rundown, keep in mind that each experiment is made up of many trials, each with their own outcomes from a list of a sample space. When I roll the dice, that's one trial of the experiment testing this dice, and the outcome of 10 is from the sample space of the possible results on the die. All the rolls on this dice will make up the experiment, which I will use to determine the probability that I roll a certain number. Which of these represents the sample space when playing Deal or No Deal? Is it the cases you choose from or the dollar amounts you win? The result should be the dollar amounts you win, because the sample space is always the possible list of outcomes you could have in an experiment. This example is asking us to determine an experimental probability based on a tally chart. What's the probability that a person asked has less than 2 pets? Less than 2 pets means they have 0 or 1 pet, and that is 10 people out of the total number surveyed, which is 15, 18, 20 people. Our experimental probability is 10 out of 20, otherwise known as 1/2. Notice here that an experimental probability is a probability, it's just based on data. Here we're going to use an existing probability that has already been established, 3 strikes in 10 frames, in order to solve problems and make predictions. What's the probability that Alan will get a strike on the 5th frame? Well, it's just 1 frame, just like any other frame that Alan has. His average probability is 3 strikes in 10 frames, so I'll make that probability 3 out of 10. That it's the 5th frame is actually just a distraction because it is 1 frame of the game. How many strikes will Alan probably get in 18 frames? Well, he has a 3/10 probability in 1 frame, so if I multiply that by 18, that will give me a prediction on how many he'll get. I get 54 out of 10, so I predict that Alan will get something around 5 strikes in 18 frames. Note that our prediction comes from taking the probability of it happening once and multiplying it by the number of attempts we'll have. Keep in mind that for experimental probability, you want to create a probability based on how many times the desired outcome happened in the number of trials that you performed. And for predictions, you want to use the probability that you've come up with and multiply it by the number of trials you're about to attempt. Hopefully this information about experimental probability proves useful. Stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!